स्टार्ट नहीं किया ना?
चल गया यूट्यूब चल रहा है।
अच्छा,
क्या
कह रहा था मानो कि यार शासन में पैर नीचे रखते हैं या
कुछ
ऐसे
भी
ऐसे
ऐसे लाइक दिस।
Hare Krishna. So I'm very happy to be here. I came here when this center was being inaugurated, and since then I've always been thinking about this center. Today I've got an opportunity to come here. I thank His Grace Bandhu Prabhu, Bandhu Madhav Prabhu, and all the other leaders here. So let's take part in this Sunday feast. The feast is, of course, prasadam is also served, but the Bhagavatam or the discussion of the name, form, qualities, pastimes is the actual feast. Can all of you hear me? Is my voice audible? Thank you. So we will start with little kirtan, or kirtan is done. Okay, 5 minutes kirtan we will do. And then the agenda for today's discussion is how Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the previous session, I'm informed that it was discussed and proven that the Supreme Absolute Truth is a person. He's not impersonal, he is a person. He has a name, he has a form, he has some qualities, he has some pastimes, he has likes, dislikes, feelings. So today we are going to discuss more with more evidence and more focus on how this person is the Supreme Personality. And at the same time, we'll try to understand how and why this person is the most lovable and the most attractive person. And that is the scope for today's discussion. So we'll start with some short kirtan. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Nama. Please repeat. Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namaste Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Shri Krishna. Little louder. Prabhu Nityananda. Everybody. Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Jaya Radha Madhav Kunj Bihari, Gopi Jan Vallabha Giridharidhari, Kunj Bihari, Gopi Jan Yashodanandana, Braj Jan Ranjana, Yamuna Tiravanachari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunj Bihari, Gopi Jan Vallabha Giridharidhari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunj Bihari, Yashodanandana Braj Jana Ranjana, Yamuna Tiravanachari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Gandharvika Giridhari, Gandharvika Giridhari, Gandharvika Giridhari, Gaura Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya. Yuga Dharma Harinam Sankirtan Yagya ki Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki. Hare Krishna. So thank you for your very nice, absorbed meditation on the holy name. I was feeling very surcharged with the devotional atmosphere. Must say that the center is, I can feel some spiritual vibrations as I'm here, the devotees carrying Krishna in their heart. I may not be knowing most of them, but I'm pretty sure you're quite close to Krishna. I had a wonderful experience. Okay, so let's start today's discussion. And this session is dedicated to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. I hope and I pray that whatever discussion, katha we do today, it may give some fraction or little insignificant pleasure to Srila Prabhupada and all the devotees assembled here. And in order to seek his blessings and the blessings of my seniors, Bandhu Prabhu and Bandhu Madhav Prabhu and others, I would like to chant some invocation mantras to seek blessings, permissions of all my teachers, my seniors, and ultimately the founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Paditanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yatkripa Tamaham Bande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Harihi Om Tatsat. Hare Krishna. So, today there's no flow as such, but this is what I've planned. We will discuss what is the concept of God. And then we'll see, is there one God or many gods? I think most of you know all this, but we'll try to have a devotional discussion around these topics. Some relevance from the scriptures, and why God is all attractive unlike other masters. This is the kind of discussion we will have today. The goal of today's discussion is to develop loving attachment towards Krishna. And today we will try to present this whole concept that is there one God or many gods, or why Krishna is the Supreme Personality, from the background of the Vedic literature. Just like a lawyer in the High Court or in the Supreme Court, if he or she makes any argument, and if does not back that argument with sufficient references from the Constitution or earlier judgments passed by the same court, until unless he or she gives references, the arguments are not valid. So similarly, we want to arrive at the conclusion that Krishna is Purna Purushottam Bhagwan, Leela Purushottam Bhagwan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So for that, we'll have to give some Shastric references. And based on that Shastric discussion, we will conclude. Of course, we will have some questions and answers. We will try to conclude. Any discussion which happens, of which the Vedic literature is not the basis, is not considered a discussion only. So, we have to have a little bit of Shraddha or faith that yes, Vedic literature do speak the supreme absolute truth. We need to have little bit faith that Bhagavad Gita is correct. We need to have some amount of faith that Krishna was not on drugs while he was speaking Bhagavad Gita. Some faith we need to have that whatever Vyasadeva has written is the supreme absolute truth. So with that basic background of faith, if we can have a discussion where we shastrically conclude that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then we would have established Shraddha in our heart. Shraddha has a very nice definition. Shraddha Shabde Vishwasa Kare Sudrida Nishchaya Krishna Bhakti Kaile Sarva Karam Kritahaya. The definition of Shraddha which Srila Prabhupada gives is, or rather the scriptures give, and Srila Prabhupada explains, that simply one should have this faith that if I simply execute my Krishna consciousness with topmost priority, then all my other endeavors will achieve supreme perfection. This is called Shraddha. Are we allowed to give some demonstrations also in the class? Okay, I need one volunteer to do some demonstration. Are you volunteering? Okay, any volunteer? It's a very easy task. You're smiling, so you please get up. Can you please push this wall for me? Just try to push the wall. Yeah. And please keep doing that for the next 2-3 minutes. And we'll see what is the result of this. What do you think will happen? Are you exerting any effort? He's putting some effort. But what is the result of that effort? What will happen if he continues pushing for the next 1 hour? He'll get tired, but nothing will be achieved. But some effort he's putting, he'll be thinking that I have tried to do something. But what is the significance or what is the ultimate value of what he did? Zero. Thank you very much. I'll meet you after the class also. So similarly, if somebody does not have faith in Krishna, if somebody does not give Krishna consciousness their top priority, they may end up being the so-called richest person or the so-called most beautiful person or the so-called most famous person. But if they don't put their heart and soul in Krishna consciousness, the net work done is zero. You can remember this wall pushing example. Very recently, there was a bank who had declared bankruptcy. Which bank was that? Yes Bank. So suppose if there is a bank which has declared bankruptcy, that you invest 1 crore rupees in me and I will not give you anything back. How many of you would like to invest in such a bank? So this material world and this body is like that kind of a bank. No matter how much you invest in it, nothing is going to come back. So better invest in Krishna consciousness and better develop this faith over a period of time that simply by executing Krishna consciousness sincerely and seriously, all my other endeavors will achieve perfection. This having not done, it's like pushing the wall. We will push for 70 years, 80 years, 90 years, but ultimately nothing will be achieved. So that is what we want to develop, that faith. And that faith is developed only when we come in the association of devotees who are sincerely practicing and we chant Hare Krishna. That is the way to develop faith. So all of us have gathered here to develop that faith. The stronger that Shraddha, the stronger that faith, the lesser is our struggle against ignorance, the lesser is our dependence on the bodily concept of life. The more humble we become and the more closer we go towards Krishna, the more happier we feel and the more independent we become in terms of our surrender. That means more surrendered we become to Krishna. So let's start this discussion. I'm assuming all of you already have a good basic background of how the Supreme Absolute is understood in 3 ways. Vadanti tatta tattva vidas tattvam yajnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagwan iti shabdete. So the Supreme Absolute Truth is understood in 3 different ways. That is Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagwan. This everybody knows? Yes? So Brahman aspect is that aspect where we understand that God is all pervading. He is there everywhere. And then Paramatma aspect is that when we understand that God is the absolute supreme controller of everything. Without his desire, even a blade of grass doesn't move. And in Paramatma realization, one arrives at a form. That is the goal of Ashtanga Yoga also. Dhyana vasthita tadgatena manasa pashyanti yam yogina. When the yogis are seeing the 400 form of Lord Vishnu in their heart, That is the perfection of Ashtanga Yoga, and that is the perfection of Paramatma realization. And higher than that is Bhagwan realization. That means to understand that the Supreme Absolute Truth is a person with whom I can have a relationship, with whom, and that person has a form, he has feelings, etc., etc. So that is the concept of God basically. And with the most standard definition is the definition from Vishnu Puran, Aishwaryasya Samagrasya Viryasya Yashashashriya Jnana Vairagya Yoschaiva Sannam Bhaga Itingana. So Bhagwan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is thus defined as one who is full in six opulences: full strength, full fame, full wealth, full knowledge, full beauty, and full renunciation. Is there any contender to Bhagwan here in this room right now? Or do you think that yes, there is a contender for Krishna here? For example, wealth. Who can say that he has all the wealth in the world? Can Mukesh Ambani say that? No, he doesn't have all the wealth. How many of you saw that interview of the son of Mukesh Ambani? What is his name? No, Anant Ambani. How miserably he was crying on the stage. I am the son of the richest man in India, but my life was not a bed of roses, but I have all the time felt the pain of thorns. These were his words. And his father Mukesh Ambani is sitting down below the stage and crying. So I was feeling, even if somebody has so much money, they are not happy in life. That I took a snapshot and shared with all those people who think that money buys happiness. He's not happy. And he's struggling all the time. But Krishna displays supreme, unalloyed, uncontaminated bliss. And the best thing is that he's not attached to money also. Look at the discussions which Lord Krishna is having with Mother Rukmini in the 10th canto, I think chapter 67, or Krishna book chapter 67, where he's telling that both me and my devotees are nishkinchana. We don't have anything. So this is the mood of the Supreme Personality. This last aspect where he is most renounced means that although he is the richest, strongest, most famous, most beautiful, but he doesn't need to have these 5 characteristics. Even without them, he is Bhagwan. He's not attached to all these qualities. He can give up being the most rich. He can give up being the most strong. He can give up being the most famous. He can give up being the most intelligent. He can give up being the most beautiful. Easily. There is only one quality which God cannot give up. Any guesses? Which is that quality? Very good. The Bhakt Vatsal nature of the Lord, is that something which he cannot give up. Now, he has many unlimited qualities and he is ready to sacrifice each and every quality, but he cannot in any circumstance give up the quality of being Bhakt Vatsal. One example is there in Srimad Bhagavatam where he has taken a vow that I will not lift any weapon. And then another devotee who is in another rasa called Bhishma has decided that I will make him pick up some weapon today. So he's firing arrows at Arjuna and Arjuna is trying his best to fight. And Krishna is very nicely maneuvering the chariot here and there, trying to deflect the weapons. But Bhishma is overpowering him slowly. And Arjuna is getting overpowered. And at that point of time, Krishna sees one drop of sweat on the forehead of Arjuna, and this is something which he couldn't tolerate. He immediately got down, lifted a chariot wheel which was detached from its chariot and started running. The description is that his hair was flowing, covered with particles of dust, some drops of sweat. His eyes were red like the rising sun. His Angavastra had fallen down, and like a lion who approaches to kill an elephant, he was approaching Bhishma. And Arjuna, when he realized, hey, what is happening? He has decided not to pick up any weapon. But for me, if he picks up a weapon, it will be not good for him. And plus, I don't want to be the reason why he breaks his vow. So Arjuna has caught hold of the feet of Krishna And Krishna is in so much transcendental anger that he's dragging Arjuna. He's running towards the chariot of Bhishma and he's dragging Arjuna for quite some distance. So this is the mood of Krishna. One of the names of Krishna is Satyavan, one who always speaks the truth or one who always stands for the truth. But we see that here he is ready to give up or change the definitions of truth. The only truth for Krishna is, I know my devotees and my devotees know me, and I don't know anything else. This is the supreme absolute truth. And to always take care of this truth, he can give up all the other attachments to all the other truths. Another example is how after defeating Jarasandha 17 times, 18th time he just gave up the battlefield. And therefore he got the name Ranchoda. So this shows the renunciation of Krishna. And that is what makes him very attractive. He is ready to renounce everything just to serve his devotees. This Bhaktvatsal nature is something which makes him very attractive. So anyways, there's no doubt that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now we will quickly, without spending much time and much discussion, we'll see some Shastric references which will help us put faith in this point in a scientific, intellectual way that Krishna is Leela Purushottam, Purna Purushottam, Bhagavan. Why we need to do this? Because the Vedic scriptures use the word Bhagavan for many personalities. Even Narad Muni is called as Bhagavan sometimes in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Even Lord Shiva is sometimes referred as Bhagavan. Even Brahma ji is referred as Bhagavan. But what is the actual definition of Bhagavan and who is Bhagavan? We have to listen and conclude without any doubt. So here is a quick presentation. So this is from 15.15 of the Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna says, can we recite the verses? Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishto mattah smritir jnanam apohanam cha vedaischa sarvairahameva vedyo Vedanta krit veda vid eva chaham. Can you read the translation for me, please?
I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas, I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta, and I am knower of the Vedas.
Yes. So this is something very universal with respect to understanding how Krishna is the Supreme Personality. He is telling, I am seated in everyone's heart. That means he is seated in the heart of Lord Shiva also. He is seated in the heart of Brahma also. He is seated in your heart also and my heart also. And by his influence is coming remembrance, knowledge and forgetfulness. And he is the compiler of the Vedas. Everything which we know about everybody comes from Vedas. In fact, everything which we know ultimately comes from Vedas. Anything which the human mind can conceive, process, and work with, any concept, any branch, any discipline of knowledge, ultimately comes from Vedas. You name any discipline, it is from the Vedas. And who is the compiler of the Vedas? Krishna. He's telling, and the goal of all the Vedic literature is to know me. By all the Vedas, I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of the Vedanta and the knower of the Vedas. So this is a very nice, way to understand that yes, there are some personalities who don't even know the Vedic literature fully. It is mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam that Brahmaji had to read the Vedic literature 3 times only to conclude that the highest perfection of human life is to develop loving attachment service for Krishna. And Krishna is telling that yes, I have compiled these Vedas. Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye. So in the heart of Brahma, who gives this Vedic knowledge? Brahma also doesn't know the Vedic knowledge. Brahma is holding the Vedic knowledge and is passing on to Narada, and Narada is later passing on to Vyasa, and then it comes to us as Vedic knowledge. But every day when Brahma wakes up, when he has forgotten everything, just like we wave, when we are dreaming, when we are sleeping, we are dreaming, And the moment we get up, we forget everything. And then we need to, as soon as we wake up, immediately our body consciousness comes in, and then we realize I'm in this place, I have to do this, I have to do that. So similarly, Brahmaji, when he wakes up, his memory comes slowly, and then he is reminded in the core of his heart of the Vedic knowledge. But what is the source of that Vedic knowledge? Krishna. The entire discussion, whether it is Shankara school of philosophy or Vishishtadvait or any kind of discussion, is based on Vedic literature. And that Vedic literature is coming from Krishna. So this in itself is sufficient to understand that he is Purna Purushottam Bhagavan. Next, even Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Mattah parataram nanyat kinchidasti dhananjaya mai sarvam idam protam Sutre Maniganaiva. O conqueror of wealth, there is no truth superior to me. There are no terms and conditions applied. There is no star mark anywhere in this definition. This is the only truth. There is no truth superior to Krishna. Had there been any truth superior to Krishna, Krishna would have told something about it. All the statements of Bhagavad Gita are eternal. Millions of years ago, when it was first given to the demigod Vivaswan, at that time also this verse was like this. Now also it is like this. And in the next day of Brahma also this verse will be like this. Matta parataram nanyat kinchidasti dhananjaya. There is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a thread. That means I am the basis of the entire existence. You see this garland, it looks beautiful, right? At least for discussion purpose, say yes. Thank you very much. Now, why is it looking beautiful? Because the flowers are very nicely strewn in it. It's a very nice Mahaprasad coming from the Lord. One can smell very nice. So it's a beautiful garland. There are some different colors also. Red, green. Assume this garland's beauty is because of its density. Assume if this garland is made in such a way that here you see flowers, here you see the thread, here you see flowers, will it look beautiful? So the real beauty of this garland is the invisibility of the thread. Does it make sense? Similarly, Krishna has so beautifully, mystically and inconceivably in an achintya way established the whole creation. Although everything rests upon him, but it is not obvious to understand that. And this is the real beauty. Are you able to appreciate with the garland example? Yes. The real beauty of Krishna's creation is that his hand is not visible anywhere. Only to the trained eye, Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena, only to that trained devotional eye which is surrendered to Guru and Krishna, that hand will be visible. Otherwise it's not visible. That is the beauty of his creation. Are you able to appreciate? So therefore he is God. And of course he is saying, Aham sarvasya prabhavo mattah sarvam pravartate. There is something called as Paribhash Sutra of every book. A particular theme or a particular topic around which the whole book revolves. Or rather, from that particular topic or theme, you can derive the whole book. So this is the Paribhash Sutra. There are 4 verses of Bhagavad Gita called as Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita. The entire 700 verses can be derived from those 4 verses. So this is one of those verses. Aham sarvasya prabhavo mattah sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante maam buddha bhava samanvitaha. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. So human life is meant for becoming wise. And what are the activities of this wise people? Engage in devotional service with all your heart. If you can do this, you are wise. If you cannot do this, you are in the process of becoming wise. I'll give another example, little funny example. Suppose in the next Sunday feast we announce that Mr. Virat Kohli is going to attend the next Sunday feast in ISKCON Kaggadaspura. And the class will start at 5 p.m. How many people will turn up? Sorry? Full Bangalore will, at least the hall will be full, and maybe these 2-3 pillars will be broken and put aside. I don't know, maybe they'll tear apart the roof. Why so many people, or why so many people will come? Because everybody is attracted to Virat Kohli. I'm just making a statement. Virat Kohli is displaying a fraction of the 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 energy of Krishna. And that too only in one field. He's not an expert in all walks of life also. If I go and ask him, give me some advice on architectural structures of the world, or if I ask him about marine biology, he'll not be able to answer. Only in one particular field, only for a limited amount of time, he is displaying some excellence, which is ultimately a fraction of the fraction of the, and 100 times the fraction of the energy of Krishna. Now we are so much attracted to one small display of a fraction of the fraction of the fraction of the fraction of the energy of Krishna. How much more attraction should we display for Krishna? We should appreciate that everything wonderful which we see in this creation is just a spark of the splendor of Krishna. So if I'm so attracted to Virat Kohli, if I'm so attracted to Mukesh Ambani, how much more attraction should I show for Krishna? This is called logical reasoning. If I'm ready to come half an hour before the program and stay for 2 hours later than the program, and if I'm ready to go through all struggle to take darshan of Virat Kohli, then how much more anxious should I be to serve Krishna, who is the source of billions and trillions of Virat Kohlis and Sachin Tendulkars? So this is the meaning. The wise who perfectly know this. Janma karma chame divyam evam yoveti tattvataha. Krishna consciousness has to be understood scientifically, not emotionally or sentimentally. One should be able to reason and argue that if I brought 2 pineapples for Virat Kohli, then I should bring billions of pineapples for Krishna. The wise, then you become wise. The wise who perfectly know this, they engage in my service with all their hearts. Trust me, you cannot serve Virat Kohli with all your heart. You try and see. You'll never be satisfied only. Because you need a relationship where you want to serve, and the person whom you are serving should be able to reciprocate with you, satisfy you, understand you, and engage you in such a way that your heart is completely satisfied. Otherwise, you cannot continue the service. Can Virat Kohli do that? Krishna can do. So therefore, loving devotional service is not possible for anybody else in this whole creation other than Krishna. There is something called as puja and there is something called as bhakti. You can do puja of Brahma, Shiva, Durga, Kali, Indra, etc., etc. Because you have something, it's a business transaction, you want something, you get it, puja. But bhakti can be done only for Krishna. Kirtan can be done only for Krishna. This is something which we have to understand. Loving devotional service is the only activity which will satisfy the core of our heart, which will actually end the search for our happiness, and it can be done only with Krishna and no one else. So therefore Krishna is God. Agreed? And of course Krishna is saying, Name viduh suraganaha prabhavam na maharshayah aham adir hi devanam maharshinam cha sarvashah. Neither the hosts of the demigods nor the great sages know my origin or opulences. For in every respect I am the source of the demigods and the sages. Sometimes a child asks while seeing the album of the marriage of their parents, where am I in this? So the child cannot know what happened in the wedding of their parents because he was not there. Similarly, these hosts of the demigods in the sages, they cannot know everything about Krishna because Krishna is their source. So therefore, complete knowledge about God can only come from God. And so therefore, we are taking shelter of Bhagavad Gita. There are so many scriptures in this world which talk about God. But there is only one scripture in which God is speaking, and that is Bhagavad Gita. Do you appreciate Bhagavad Gita? And that too, you get to know the entire science of devotional realm in just 700 verses. Isn't it so great? The greatness of a personality is judged by how much can they give with little time or little words. For example, a teacher. If a teacher can give great amount of knowledge in a very small time, that means the students are able to digest the simplicity with which they are able to explain the most complex subject matters. That makes them a great teacher. Now, nobody can understand the complexity of devotional service and the universal creation, but Krishna has finished it in 700 verses. Isn't that great? So, therefore, he is God. And of course, one may say, Arey, he is God, so he is saying, I am God, I will not trust. So, let's see what others are saying. Even Vyasdev is saying, Ete chamsha kalaha pumsah krishnastu bhagavan swayam indradi vyakulam loke mridyanti yuge yuge. The reason why I have included this verse, someone may say, Vamandev is also Supreme Personality, Lord Ram is also Supreme Personality, Parshuram is also in the category of God. Why should I say only Krishna is God? So therefore the Bhagavatam proves here. The Bhagavatam in this chapter, third chapter of first canto, has analyzed all the various incarnations and has proven, if you want more proof, you can read a book called Laghu Bhagavatamrit by Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada. In that, very systematically he gives references how Krishna is the source of all incarnations. Krishna is not just another entertaining incarnation of Vishnu. No, he is the source of all Vishnus. All the Vishnu Tattvas, all the Leela avatars, all the Yuga avatars, all the Manvantara avatars, all the Channa avatars, everybody emanates from Krishna. All the above mentioned incarnations are either plenary portions or the portions of the plenary portions of the Lord. But Sri Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. All of them appear on the planets wherever there is a disturbance created by the atheists. The Lord incarnates and protects the theists. Rupa Goswami gives a very, very strong argument how only Krishna is the Supreme Personality. He argues, he compares, I'm not saying that Vamandev is less powerful than Krishna or Lord Ram is more powerful. I'm not discussing all that. That is not my intention. The example of the moon is given here, that sometimes the moon is half visible, sometimes 1/4 visible, sometimes 3/4 visible. So the day on which the moon is half visible, does it mean that the moon has lost half its power? No, it just chooses to display half its effulgence. So similarly, Krishna is compared to the full moon, and all the other incarnations are compared to the waxing or the waning phases of the moon. But Krishna is Purna Purushottam Bhagavan. So he gives, Rupa Goswami has given a very nice explanation how when amongst all the Vishnu Tattvas and incarnations, for Gaudiya Vaishnavas, three are considered more very primary and very major. That is Narasimhadev, Lord Ram, and ultimately Krishna. So he is comparing the killing pastimes of these three Paravastha incarnations of the Supreme Lord, and he is saying that what happens when Narasimhadev kills someone? What happened when Narasimhadev killed Hiranyakashipu? He took birth again. What happened when Lord Ram killed Ravana? He took birth again. But what happened when Krishna killed Shishupal? He got liberated. Now someone may argue, these were Jay and Vijay who were cursed to take three incarnations, and this was the last incarnation, so Krishna had done. Anyways, they were supposed to go back. But this is not the correct understanding. Rupa Goswami argues that if this had been the case, that means in every day of Brahma, Lord Krishna is so unkind that he forces two of his parshads to fall down and take 3 births. No, that is not the case. In order to get liberation after being killed by Lord Narsimhadev, one should be cognizant that yes, Narsimhadev is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and with full surrender when you die at the hands of Narsimhadev, then you get liberation. Otherwise, you get a very opulent next birth. This is the conclusion of the Acharyas. Similarly with Lord Ram. But Shishupal, although he was envious of Krishna, although he did not surrender to Krishna, but Krishna displays this supreme charming potency which no other incarnation displays, that even if somebody is not fully surrendered, Krishna will charm that person at the time of death and take him home into godly, or at least end the material life. So all the acharyas perfectly conclude that anybody killed by Krishna, their material life is finished. But this conclusion cannot be said for all the other Vishnu Tattva incarnations. And there is sufficient proof for this. And that is why Prabhupada, Bhagavatam says, Krishnastu Bhagavana Swayam. Who can kill a witch like Putana and give her the position of mother in the spiritual world? Lord Ram killed Tadka. We don't hear about that. At least the scriptures don't mention that. But specifically the scriptures mention that a witch like Putana, killed by Krishna, goes to the spiritual world. So this means Krishnastu Bhagavana Swayam. So this means he is the source of all Vishnu Tattvas. He is the source of all other incarnations. Krishna is not an avatar, he is avatari. So therefore Jayadev Goswami in his Dashavastara Stotram, he mentions the 10 famous Leela avatars, and he does not mention the name of Krishna in the 7th or the 8th position. He consistently keeps saying that the 8th incarnation is Balaram and the source of Balaram is Krishna. So this verse 10.8 of Bhagavad Gita, which I have not yet quoted, if you just open the 10.8 in the Bhagavad Gita, you will see Srila Prabhupada has given so many references from this Upanishad, this Purana, that Purana, some 14 to 15 references Prabhupada has given, which is sufficient to end all discussion and all debates that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So I will urge and request all of you to go through it when you go home. 10.8 Bhagavad Gita. And then the Chaitanya Charitamrita very nicely summarizes everything. Ekale Ishwara Krishna Ar Sab Bhritya Yare Yaiche Nachaya Se Taiche Kare Nritya. Lord Krishna alone is the supreme controller and all others are his servants. On the day of Nityananda Trayodashi, I was hearing a lecture by Srila Prabhupada, where Srila Prabhupada told that Mahavishnu is part and parcel of Krishna. Mahavishnu is the source of the entire material creation, and he is a part and parcel of Krishna. So similarly, here it is being very nicely told, he is alone the supreme controller and all others are his servants. They dance as he makes them do so. Another reference, you read the Krishna book, I think it's chapter 90, the super excellent powers of Lord Krishna, where Mahavishnu is trying to steal the young kids of a Brahmana and he is keeping them with him so that Krishna will come to meet him to rescue those children, and in that way Mahavishnu will get darshan of Krishna. Now Mahavishnu, he can say that the whole material world has emanated from me. So I am the owner of everything. I can walk anywhere, go anywhere, do anything. But even Mahavishnu cannot get darshan of Krishna without the will of Krishna. And that is why he is doing this entire Leela of capturing and saving people, the sons of the Brahmana, so that Arjuna will take a vow, and to save his friend Arjuna, he will ultimately go beyond the realm of this material verse, penetrating all the 7 layers, ultimately crossing Brahma Jyoti and entering Vaikuntha and meeting Mahavishnu. So these pastimes are very subtle, these pastimes are very symbolic, and they carry a huge, deep meaning. If we do not discuss this scientifically, and understand it only superficially, then we will never be understanding how Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now let's see, there are some controversies also. Some people, they don't want to believe that Krishna is God, so they say Brahma is God or Shiva is God. So we will present some statements by these demigods so as to completely arrive to the conclusion that Krishna is the Supreme Personality alone. Brahma says, Ishvaraha Paramaha Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam. Krishna, who is known as Govinda, is the Supreme Godhead. He has an eternal, blissful, spiritual body. He is the origin of all. He has no other origin, and he is the prime cause of all causes. This is the statement of Brahma. And then what Lord Shiva says, it's just like there is Bhagavad Gita, there is something called as Rudra Gita in Srimad Bhagavatam. If anybody wants to know what Lord Shiva is meditating upon, what is his personal meditation, how does he start, where does it end, you should read this Rudra Gita, 4th canto, chapter 24, where Lord Shiva is saying, my dear Lord, you are the topmost of all bestowers of all benediction, the oldest and the supreme enjoyer amongst all enjoyers. You are the master of world's metaphysical philosophy, and you are the supreme cause of all causes, Lord Krishna. Krishnaya Kuntha Medhase. Lord Shiva uses the word Krishna. Although Lord Shiva is a devotee of Sankarshan, and one of the plenary expansions of Sankarshan is Lord Ram, and although Lord Shiva has been visibly seen chanting the names of Lord Ram, but when he's teaching the science of devotional service to the Prachetas, he says, Krishnaya Kuntha Medhase. You are the supreme cause of all causes, Lord Krishna. You are the greatest of all religious principles, the supreme mind, and you have a brain which is never checked by any condition. Therefore, I repeatedly offer my obeisances to you. And again to Parvati, Mother Parvati, he is explaining. And then there is this Mohini Leela, where the Lord Mahadev says again, O chief demigod amongst the demigods, O all-pervading Lord, Master of the universe, by your energy, you are transformed into the creation. You are the root and the efficient cause of everything. You are not material. Indeed, you are the super soul and the supreme living force of everything. You are Parameshwara. Now, wherever you go in South India, North India, anywhere, Lord Shiva is called Ishvara. Generally, if you go to the temple, whose temple is this? Is Ishvara's temple. Ishvara. So Lord Shiva is known as Ishvara, controller. But Lord Shiva is telling Krishna is Param Ishvara. There are many controllers. There is a controller for this Bhakti center also. There is a controller for this state. There is a controller for this country. So the controller of this material world is Lord Shiva. So like that, there are many controllers. The controller of all the controllers, Parameshwara, is Krishna. Ekale Ishvara Krishna. Arasabhritya. So all the Ishwaras, they are rendering loving devotional service to Parameshwara, that is Krishna. And this is from the 8th canto, prayer to the Mohini avatar. And of course, if you want to understand Shiva Tattva, then here is an explanation where Lord Shiva is compared to curd or yogurt, and Krishna is compared to milk. From milk you can get yogurt, but from yogurt you cannot get milk. So in all ways, milk is the source of yogurt. Many people say, okay, Shiva, Brahma, but I believe that Adi Shakti is the source of everything. There are many pseudo-saintly people, pseudo-saints, who claim all kinds of nonsense. There is another pseudo-saint in South India only, who says that I am the mother of all the gods and the demigods. Even I am the mother of Krishna. I am the source of Krishna. Like that. I am the eternal Adi Shakti. Like that she says. And everybody is believing that also. So I am quoting one statement from the original Adi Shakti. That is Mother Durga, who is in the form of a small child which was swapped. And when Kamsa was trying to kill that child, she took the form of Durga and she made a statement which is recorded in Srimad Bhagavatam. What does that statement say? O Kamsa, you fool, what will be the use of killing me? And Mother Durga is using the words, the Supreme Personality of Godhead who has been your enemy from the very beginning and who will certainly kill you has already taken his birth somewhere else. So if Mother Durga is using the word Supreme Personality of Godhead, that means, logically speaking, that Adi Shakti is not the Supreme. Do you agree with me? If you don't agree, then let's listen to Lord Brahma. सृष्टि स्थिति प्रलय साधन शक्ति रेखा छायेव यस्य भुवनानि बिभर्ति दुर्गा इच्छानुरूपमपि यस्य च चेष्टते सा गोविन्दमादि पुरुषं तमहं भजामि. So Vandanam or prayers, reciting prayers is one of the angas of bhakti. Srila Prabhupada says that every day we should recite prayers. And in the purport he says every day we should recite the Narsimha prayers, the Govindam Adi Purusham prayers. These are the two prayers which he mentions in the purports. And other prayers like that. And other prayers like that, he says. This is in the section where Prabhupada is stressing the importance of memorizing prayers, because Gajendra could remember some prayers which he learned in his previous life. So he says, learning prayers is a very good investment of time, and it will help us eternally, either in this life or the next, even when we are not in a human form, like that Prabhupada says. So therefore we should memorize these prayers. Mind has a nature of garbage in, garbage out nature. Like if you put garbage, only garbage will come out. Just like the swan is always chewing and always busy chewing the juicy stems of the lotus flower. So similarly, the mind of a practicing devotee or a perfected devotee, yes, both in the stage of practice as well as perfection, the mind of a devotee should be always busy in glorification of Krishna. Otherwise, things are very, very dangerous. So therefore, all the space which is there in the mind should be utilized for memorizing prayers, for glorification of Krishna, for meditating on Krishna. And that is called as Vandanam. Prayers also have 5 different aspects. One should pray to beg forgiveness. One should pray to express gratitude. One should pray to ask for benedictions. One should pray to get the association of devotees. And one should pray for the supreme welfare of all other living entities, following in the footsteps of Prahlad Maharaj. So prayers are very important anga of bhakti. And the best form of prayer is the prayers which is following in the footsteps of the devotees. The prayers of Queen Kunti, prayers of Prahlad Maharaj, prayers of Gajendra, prayers of Arjuna, prayers of the Prachetas. There are 25 prayers in Srimad Bhagavatam. If we can recite that, the Supreme Lord will be very happy with us. Extremely happy. So this is one of the prayers by one of the chief devotees. And he is saying that the external potency Maya, Mother Durga, who is of the nature of the shadow of the Chit potency, is worshipped by all as Durga, the creating, preserving and the destroying agency of this mundane world. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, in accordance to whose will Durga conducts herself. So this photo I have taken from the first chapter of Krishna book, where Lord Krishna is ordering his potency, Yog Maya, that you go and transfer Sankarshan from the womb of Rohini to the from the womb of Devaki to the womb of Rohini. And the Durga or Maya, Shakti, she circumambulates Krishna to get the power to do so. So therefore, Krishna is the source of Adi Shakti. Adi Shakti cannot be the source of Krishna. Are you all convinced? Any doubts? And finally, Krishna says, Maya dhakshena prakritihi suyate sarcharacharam hetunanena kauntaya jagadvi parivartate. Material nature is working under my direction. So it is very foolish to ignore these verses from Bhagavad Gita, from Bhagavatam, the statements of the various demigods, and still not accept that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And if you have accepted that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, what you should do? The wise who perfectly know this should engage in loving devotional service with all their hearts. So hope all of you are convinced that Krishna is Purna Purushottam Bhagwan. Any doubts, any disagreements? I still don't think so. Any challenging or any disagreement? There can be no disagreement because the basis of all agreements and disagreements is Shastra. And when the Shastra says that Krishna is Bhagwan, then one has to accept. Otherwise, if one doesn't accept, then they are atheist, not follower of the Vedic literature. Now, the next discussion, now that we have established Krishna as Supreme Personality of God, and in the next 10-15 minutes, I want to discuss something, which will help us to develop loving attraction towards Krishna. Actually, loving attraction towards Krishna can only come by the mercy of Krishna or by the mercy of pure devotees of Krishna. So the pure devotees like Ved Vyas, Narad Muni and Srila Prabhupada, they have given very nice description of Krishna which we should meditate upon. So there is one verse from Srimad Bhagavatam which is so potent that it has the capacity of making an impersonalist into a pure devotee. This is the verse which describes the pastime of Putana's deliverance. Aho bakiyam stanakalakutam jigham saya payayapapya sadhvi lebhe gatim dhatre uchitam twatonyam kamva dayalum sharanam brajana. How many of you have faced any criminals till now? Like you have acquainted and you have interacted with a criminal? Nobody? Have you interacted with any criminal? Any acquaintance? Any thief? Okay, theoretically, suppose if there is a person who has come to your house to kill you with all beautiful planning, and you have come to know that this person has come to kill you, how will you treat that person? Yes. Can you answer? I'm talking to the person. Yes. Yes. If a person has come to your house with foolproof plan to kill you, how will you react or treat that person? You'll close all the doors and bring that person inside and hug him? Huh? You will escape, okay? Do we have any bold people here who would like to face the challenge? Come on, bring it on. What will you do? Once when I was a small child, I used to stay in a village called Govindpur. A thief was caught. This thief was a very different kind of thief. His idea of, or what he used to like to steal is fragrant flowers. So every day, 3 a.m. to 3:45 a.m., he used to go into the gardens of various people. And so village, so everybody has a garden and they used to grow flowers and vegetables. So he used to pluck vegetables and flowers. What he used to do, nobody knows. Vegetables, I don't know what do you do when you pluck vegetables? I think you eat it up or maybe you sell it. So everybody was puzzled that where are the flowers and the vegetables going? So one day he was caught. And then I cannot describe what everybody did. Everybody came and hit him. And they were standing in a queue, kind of a queue. कि तुम्हारा हो गया, अब मैं मारूंगा. So this is the treatment which a person who is caught red-handed gets. What to speak of killing? If somebody is caught red-handed killing, they'll beat him up, they'll hand him over to the police, and even after handing him over to the police, they'll make sure that he rots in the jail for the rest of his lifetime. All that we will do. But see the position of Krishna. The Acharyas give 19 reasons why Krishna closed his eyes when Putana was approaching him. I'm not going to tell all the reasons. But some of the reasons I will tell, which will help you to rise in love with Krishna. You fall in love with the people of this world, but you rise in love with the devotees and Krishna. Love is something very rare. If you are truly in love, you will be able to overcome lust, anger and greed. But if you are falling more and more into the deep dark well of material existence, that's why it's called you fall in love with someone and you rise in love with Bhagavatam and Krishna and the devotees. So Krishna, when he saw that Putana, who is of the category of which is called Khechari, Srila Prabhupada describes that these Khechari witches, they like to break a branch of a tree and sit on it like this and travel and fly everywhere. Have you seen something similar? So everything, all the Harry Potter and Gary Potters, they come from Bhagavatam. Seriously, somebody who knew Bhagavatam would have gone and recited in somewhere, and then somebody would have heard, and that has got transformed into Hari Puttar or Harry Potter. So Khechari is that kind of demoness, and she's very good at taking various forms. And her diet, she had a very sattvic diet. Her diet was the liver and the blood of babies less than 1 year old. That was her diet. Even till date we find such kind of witches. So you cannot imagine what kind of heinous activities she would have done. Certainly she did not have a pious background. That's what I'm trying to establish. If a thief deserves to be punished, a child hunter and a child killer, what kind of punishment they will deserve? Unlimited punishment. Now, this kind of a child hunter has come and has taken the form of a gopi, very beautiful, and is entering. And Krishna has closed his eyes. And Krishna knows what he's doing. He's closing his eyes and he's scanning all the past lifetimes of Putana. Is there even one single good activity which I can see? Just by giving excuse of that activity, I will give her liberation. Although she has come to kill me. Aho bakiyam stana kalakutam. She has put the poison of a very great degree called kalakut, sufficient for killing 1,000 elephants. And she has come to kill me with all planning, but I'm trying to scan. Is there any one single good quality or activity which she has done? I will make that as an excuse and deliver her. Why? Because she has dressed up like a Vrajvasi. She has dressed up like a devotee. And because my devotees knowingly or unknowingly have accepted her, so therefore I also accept her. And so he's scanning, and then he goes, oh, past life, Ratnavali, sister of Bali Maharaj. She had a desire when I was walking and coming in the Bhrigu Kach to transcendentally cheat Bali. At that time when she saw me for the first time, she desired, I wish I could feed my breast milk to this so beautiful Brahmana boy. However, when I tied Bali in the Varunapash and made him stand like a offender in front of me, the same sister, she felt, I wish I could feed him poison. So in this life, both are getting combined. She wants to feed her breast milk along with poison. So Krishna is ignoring the poison part and she is telling, because she has desired to serve me, knowingly or unknowingly, I will deliver her. I don't know, my phone is somewhere, you have to silent it. So, this is the mind of God. Another reason why he has closed his eyes, Krishna Surya Sama Maya Haya Andhakar, Jahan Krishna Taha Nahi Maya Radhikar. Wherever there is Krishna, Maya cannot exist. Just like where there is sun, darkness cannot exist. So Putana's form was an illusory form. It was a form. It was not the original form. It was a Maya form. So had Krishna opened his eyes and seen her, she would have been forced to come in her original form and the Leela wouldn't have happened. So for the purpose of this pastime, for the purpose that the other devotees in Nanda Bhavan will not be afraid, so that no damage comes in Nanda Bhavan if she expands her size, he kept his eyes closed. This is how much Krishna cares about his devotees. This reminds me of one pastime of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Srivas Angan. This year we are going to Mayapur. How many of you have registered for the Mayapur Yatra? Those who haven't registered, please listen to this pastime and try to register. So there is a very beautiful place called Srivas Angan, which is the originating place, which is the original place from all Sankirtan pastimes have evolved. So Lord Chaitanya, when he would do Sankirtan, he would come into the mood of various incarnations. So one day he came in the mood of Narsingadev. It has been described that he bent down a little bit, pulled his dhoti a little bit up, and then came in the position of a lion and roared very loudly. His roaring had such an impact that all the atheists of Navadvip, in the dead of the night, they got up and they were very afraid with their heart pounding and perspiration. So much was the eardrums affected by that roaring. But for the devotees, that roaring was like the transcendental sound of the flute of Krishna. How many of you would like to hear the flute of Krishna someday? Please raise your hand. Have you heard the sound of Hare Krishna Mahamantra? Srila Prabhupada says, the sound of Hare Krishna Mahamantra and the sound of the flute of Krishna is the same. When Narsimhadev puts his hand on the head of Prahlad Maharaj is shedding in tears. And Srila Prabhupada writes, the experience which Prahlad Maharaj got, the same experience we can get by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. So in the mood of Narsimhadev, when the Supreme Personality Sri Gaura Sundar came out of the house, then few of the devotees, they got afraid and they ran away. It's a fact that other than Prahlad, everybody was afraid of Narsimhadev. And when Gaura Sundar saw his devotees being afraid and run away, he became very morose and he became very sorry. And then he called Nityananda and he said that, I'm very sorry that I have frightened my devotees. My intention was not to do so. So this is how Lord Krishna thinks. So he was thinking that nobody in Nanda Bhavan should be afraid. So therefore this Putana should remain looking like that. And so therefore I should keep my eyes closed. So like this, there are various, acharyas have gone into so much depth and they are discussing and each discussion makes us rise in love with Krishna. And that is why we should, anybody who says that I know the Putana Leela, that person definitely doesn't know the Putana Leela. Because there is no limit to Putana Leela, and what to speak of Govardhan Leela and the other pastimes. So therefore, one should hear again and again and again and again. And with every hearing, a piece of the false ego, a piece of the lust, anger, greed will come out of our heart and go away forever. So this Putana Leela is so wonderful. It shows the extreme merciful nature of Krishna. Kamva dayalum sharanam brajema. This line basically means that who else is more qualified and deserving of surrender Who else is more merciful? Why should I? What is missing in Krishna? Those who are not convinced that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, my question to them is, what is missing in Krishna, you tell? Is there mercy lacking? Is there beauty lacking? Is there intimacy of pastimes lacking? Is there reciprocation lacking? Nothing is lacking. Nothing is missing in Krishna. So why don't we surrender to Krishna? No, I will surrender to Virat Kohli only. Then what can be done? It's not easy to understand this. That's why Srila Prabhupada says that, or even the Bhagavatam says, Yajanti hi sumedhashaha. Only the most intelligent people will take to this process of Krishna consciousness and will try to develop love for Krishna. So this proves that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and nobody else other than Krishna is worthy of our surrender. And Rupa Goswami explains in Nectar of Instruction that Krishna means Krishna, his plenary incarnations, his pure devotees, his dham, and his paraphernalia. All 5 things comprise Krishna. So our surrender is to be done for all these 5 things. We have to surrender to the pure devotees of Krishna, to surrender to the dham of Krishna, to surrender to the paraphernalia of Krishna. You can't say that this garland is just a garland, I'll throw it away. Indra did that. He got a garland of the Supreme Lord and he just offended it. As a result of which he did Vaishnava Aparadha against his spiritual master Brihaspati. An offense against Krishna ultimately leads to an offense against the devotees of Krishna. An offense against the devotees of Krishna ultimately leads in sense gratification. You see the case of Saubari Muni. He did an offense against Garuda, and as a result of which he gave up all tapasya, came out, went to King Mandhata and married his 50 daughters and got deeply immersed in materialistic life. So whenever in my practice of bhakti I am getting many sense gratificatory desires, if my mind is not being able to focus on the sound vibration of Hare Krishna, if I am feeling very disrespectful towards the devotees, immediately I should go in front of Gaur Nitai and pray that I don't know what offense I have done. But I am certainly that some serious offense I have done against you or your devotees, as a result of which material desires are coming in the core of my heart. And as long as these demon-like, Hiranyakashipu-like material desires are there in my heart, passing through the courtyard of my heart, my dear Lord, my mind will not be focused upon you. I can't think of you, my dear Lord Chaitanya. So please kill away all these demon-like material desires and decorate me with Vaishnava etiquette so that I may become a loving servant of your devotees and they may bless me with the core of their hearts. This is the mood of a devotee who wants to stay away from offenses. And all this we learn from the various pastimes of Krishna only. But Krishna is very, very merciful. Here is an offensive devotee, so-called devotee, Ratnavali, now not even a devotee, Putana. But you see how Krishna handles this. So therefore, in all circumstances, Krishna is our most attractive Lord. I'll give one more example and then we will conclude today's discussion. I will not give this example. I'll give this example of Durvasa Muni. Durvasa Muni had done a serious offense against the devotee of the Lord only. Which devotee? Ambrish Maharaj. He thought that I am a great personality, an Amsha avatar of Lord Shiva. There is no difference between Lord Shiva and me in terms of potency and prowess. And I am living since many yugas, many manvantaras. And who is this Ambrish? An ordinary grihastha. I am walking into the kingdom of Ambrish. I am Durvasa. And in front of me, people are saying Hare Krishna, Durvasa Muni, and then they are glorifying Ambrish. What is this? I should be the subject of all glorification. In front of me, nobody can glorify anybody else. I should only be glorified. This was the attitude of Durvasa. So he became a little envious of Amrisha, that what is so great in this Amrisha? He has not done anything till now. He's just a king, a worldly man. Even though he was thinking like that, he went to the palace of Amrish Maharaj, he welcomed him, and then it was the day of Dwadashi, he went for a bath, and then he extended his bath on purpose. And then according Yadyadachati Shreshthas Tattad Evataro Janaha. So in those days, just like somebody who doesn't pay income tax these days, file the ITR, they are liable for punishment. Similarly, in those days, one who doesn't observe Ekadashi was liable for punishment. It was such a serious affair. So the Ekadashi Paran time had come, and everybody was looking, what will the king do now? Will he break his fast, or will he not break his fast? Because to not break the fast in the stipulated time is also an aparadha. So just to keep the standard and save the people from sinful life, he took a drop of water. But Durvasa made that dharmic varnashram execution of duty as a reason to express envy and anger. And he said, I am your guest. And before me you broke the fast. Tore his hair and produced a demon. And the demon was about to go and kill. And we know all the pastime. Durvasa Muni was completely dependent on Krishna. The consciousness of Durvasa Muni is Maharaj Amrish is, when he saw that demon approaching him, why I am glorifying Amrish Maharaj? Because those who are in love with Krishna, this is their consciousness. When he saw that fiery demon approach him, he didn't even step back. He didn't even take a sword. He didn't even call for help. He was thinking, Rakhe Krishna mare Krishna rakhe ke. If Krishna wants me to die now at the hands of this fiery demon produced by a Brahmana, then who can protect me? And if Krishna wants to save me, what can this demon do to me? This is called complete dependence on Krishna. So he just stood there. And he didn't move even a step back. And immediately Sudarshan was invoked. And Sudarshan came. And he killed the demon. And then Sudarshan started chasing Durvasa Muni. Now, whose speed is faster, Sudarshan's speed or Durvasa Muni's speed? But it is mentioned that Sudarshan was chasing and chasing and chasing. If Sudarshan wants, it can immediately chop off the head of Durvasa Muni. But it is chasing, and Durvasa Muni is taking shelter of all the demigods, Brahma, Shiva. Nobody is able to give shelter. Ultimately, he went to the portal of Vaikuntha, which is there in this universe only, and took darshan of Kshirodakshai Vishnu. And there he asked for shelter. Now, who is Durvasa? Presently, he is a Vaishnava Aparadhi. All the principal demigods, even Ishvara Mahadev has denied shelter to him. Anybody who offends a Vaishnava gets no shelter anywhere else. Impossible. He was in a serious bad time, and in his bad time, with repentance in the core of his heart, genuine repentance, he has approached Krishna. And one of the qualities of Krishna is he always remains with his devotees in their good as well as bad times. When we are going through a bad time, we feel God is not helping me, Krishna's mercy is not there. Actually, Krishna is always there. So at that time, Krishna didn't leave. He was not like Indra, Brahma, or Lord Shiva. The day, please go, don't stay here. He started discussing with Durvasa Muni, and he was helping him to come out of this problem. First, he glorified his devotees. Aham bhakta paradhino na swatantra ivadvajah sadhuvir grasta hridayam bhakter bhakta janapriya. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is not answerable to anybody, he is saying that I am completely under the control of my devotees. Aham bhakta paradhino na swatantra ivadvajah. I am not at all independent. Sadhuvir grasta hridaya bhaktair bhakta jana priya. My devotees have conquered me and captured me in the prison of their heart. What to speak of my devotees, even those who are the devotees of my devotees are very dear to me. Immediately Durvasa Muni understood. This is the highest knowledge. There is no knowledge higher than this. I surrendered to the devotees of Krishna. And when he surrendered to the devotees of Krishna, immediately a very wonderful plan. Krishna never leaves his devotees even in the bad times. He gave a plan that you go and beg forgiveness from Amrish Maharaj. In Chaitanya Leela also we see Lord Chaitanya is very angry with someone who has offended the devotees, but ultimately he gives them the plan that you go and beg forgiveness from my devotees. So therefore he went and he begged forgiveness, and then the glory of pure devotional service was established. And as soon as that was done, Sudarshan was withdrawn. From every pastime of Krishna, we can learn so many leadership qualities. There can be a seminar, leadership sutras from Krishna Leela. Some blessed devotee can plan to give that seminar. So many leadership sutras we learn. Putana, always see the good qualities of the members of your team. That we learn from Putana Leela. From this Durvasa Leela, be with everybody in their bad times. So like that, from 4 Kumaras also, you can learn something. Any Leela of Krishna you see, so many leadership sutras, so many, all kinds of sutras you can derive. So this makes Krishna very attractive. Very, very attractive. Mother Rukmini had not even seen Krishna. She only heard about him. Simply by hearing about him, she developed so much attraction that she wrote a letter that if you don't come, I will give up my life. Without seeing. So the real attractiveness of Krishna is not his supreme charming form. Of course, Krishna is the last word in beauty. We agree to that. But the real reason why everybody is so attracted to Krishna is his loving character. Once Lakshmana was asked that why do you serve Ram despite so many difficulties and obstacles? Is it because he is the supreme personality? Is it because he is very beautiful? Is it because he is the strongest? Is it because he is the king of Ayodhya? Lakshmana says, no, all these qualities are very great, but not because of these qualities I have dedicated my life. Even if someone does a small amount of service to Lord Ram, he never forgets it. He is very kritagnya. What service can we do for Krishna? Krishna doesn't need our services. But even if we do smallest amount of services for the rest of eternity, Krishna will remember and feel grateful. And not only grateful, he will feel that this service is a gloriously great service. It is this quality of Lord Ram which attracts me so much that I have decided to surrender my life to him. This is the quality of Krishna. Of course, Krishna is the last word in beauty. He is the most attractive form available. But the most attractive quality of Krishna is that he loves you more than you can love yourself. He loves you more than anybody can love, will love, or is loving in the entire creation. You may not love him, you may forget him, but he will never forget you. This is the main reason why he is the most attractive person, because his love for us is unconditional, unmotivated, and uninterrupted. No such relationship exists anywhere else. So therefore, a relationship with Krishna is the goal of our life. And this relationship will flourish only when we know the tattva, that yes, Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. And after knowing this tattva, when we go deeper and deeper in our relationship with Krishna, walking into the footsteps of Vrajvasis, when we get rid of awe and reverence, then maybe a day will come where we don't even need to know that Krishna is God, but still spontaneously we will love him. Just like Mother Yashoda or the friends of Krishna or the cows of Vrindavan would do. So with that, I would like to conclude today's discussion. It is very easy to worship Krishna in this age. Kritya dhyayato vishnum tretayam yajito makhay dwapare paricharyayam kalau tad hari kirtanat. Simply by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. One can successfully please Krishna and attract the attention of Krishna. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Any questions?
Yes, any questions? Only 5 minutes we will take questions. Please ask questions which are related to today's discussion. Okay?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I don't have too much deep knowledge to ask this question. I just wanted to know, Lord Shiva worshipped Lord Rama. Why did not worship Lord Krishna?
The question is, Lord Shiva worshipped Lord Ram, why he didn't worship Lord Krishna? There is sufficient evidence that he has worshipped Lord Krishna. Lord, if you go to Vrindavan, there is something, a temple, which is called as Gopeshwar Mahadev temple. Lord Shiva was very eager to take darshan of Lord Krishna. He would come to Gokul to take darshan of Lord Krishna. He was so eager to, what to speak of Lord Shiva, even Mother Lakshmi was so eager to see the Ras Leela pastimes of Lord Krishna. Mother Lakshmi is called as the most chaste person in the whole, chaste woman in the whole creation. Even she is trying to see the pastimes of Lord Krishna. And Lord Shiva is the first person, according to the remembered history of the Vedas, who has inaugurated the glorification of Srimati Radharani, Radha Kripa Kataksh Stotra. The first mention of Radharani in the Vedic literature comes from Shiva. So definitely he was helplessly in love with Radha and Krishna. There is sufficient evidence. And he wants to enter the Ras Leela, that is also the evidence. And throughout the Krishna book, you will see he is expressing his love for Krishna. So much love for Krishna, Mother Lakshmi is not ready to give her position as Lakshmi, the Vaibhav of Lakshmi. But Lord Shiva is so much sold out for Krishna that he is ready to become a female in order to enter Ras Leela. But still he is not given entry. He is still okay with it. He is completely sold out for Krishna. Actually, there is no difference between Rama and Krishna. They are the same personalities. Different devotees have their different mood. For example, when it comes to Hanuman, he only chooses to hear Ramakatha. That doesn't mean that he is not a devotee of Krishna. He knows that Ram and Krishna are the same supreme personality of Godhead, but I choose to serve the Lord in this mood. So similarly, Rama and Krishna are the same personality, but Lord Shiva is more attracted to the form of Lord Ram. However, when it comes to serving Lord Krishna, he is ready to sell himself and become a gopi with 3 eyes, Gopeshwar Mahadev. And his service is to protect the dham from the attack of the atheists. And he is the Kshetrapal of Vrindavan, and he wants to completely dedicate his life for the service of Krishna. And the only aim of Lord Shiva's life is to get a merciful glance from Srimati Radharani. Therefore, Radha Kripa Kataksha Stotra. This is my understanding. Does it answer your question? Last question.
This 5 things you told not to surrender, like devotees of Krishna, Dhamma, and other 5. What were they? I couldn't know.
Okay. It is the explanation of Srila Rupa Goswami that Krishna means Krishna, the plenary expansions of Krishna, the dham of Krishna, the pure devotees of Krishna, and the paraphernalia of Krishna. So we as Vaishnavas, Rupa Goswami has saved us from aparadhas. If I love and worship Krishna, that means I should love and worship Vamandev also, Narsimhadev also, Matsya also, Kurma Avatar also. I have to respect them, that here the Supreme Lord is in the form, Krishna is in the form of Kurmadev, Krishna is in the form of Vamanadev, Krishna is in the form of Rama, Krishna is there in the form of Kalki. So, a Gaudiya Vaishnava sees Krishna only everywhere, but he gives equal respect to all the avatars. Similarly, a Gaudiya Vaishnava, according to the nectar of instruction, always gives respects to the devotees, pure devotees of the Lord. Similarly, he understands that the dham of Krishna is not different from him. The paraphernalia, anything which is related to Krishna, is also not different from him. So therefore, these are the 5 things which we should never differentiate. We should not say, I will only worship Krishna, but I will not worship this Angavastra of Krishna. No. There is no difference between Krishna and the Angavastra of Krishna. Similarly, there is no difference between Krishna and the name of Krishna. And Krishna acts in our life through his devotees. So we have to worship and respect the devotees, especially the spiritual master. Sakshad Haritvena Samasta Shastra. Guru is not Hari, but he has to be respected like Hari. Then we are safe from offenses. Does it make sense? Thank you. Oh, Bandhu Madhaprabhu has to say something.
One question.
And I'm not sure if I can answer your questions.
You spoke a lot about how Krishna is a master. So it is not difficult for us, or it is possible for us to accept Krishna as a master. But it's a real challenge to accept ourselves as a servant. So what can we do for that?
Prabhu is saying it is somewhat comparatively easier to accept Krishna as a master, but it is very difficult to accept ourselves as a servant of Krishna. The root cause of this material disease is the enviousness. This envy is manifesting in so many different ways. We don't want to serve Krishna. We don't want to serve the devotees of Krishna. I met a person who was happy when Krishna's Aarti was going on. But when after Krishna Aarti, Guru Puja of Prabhupada started, he got so angry and he left the temple. What is this? Why you are worshipping? Only Krishna should be worshipped. So envy is getting expressed in so many ways. So the real reason why we are not able to surrender our lives to the service, exclusive, loving, devotional service of Krishna, is because of this enviousness and the desire to enjoy the material world. Now, what is the cure of envy? The cure of envy can be cured only when we see a pure devotee in action in front of us. When we see great personalities like Srila Prabhupada, how much sacrifice they did. In the association of devotees, when we hear devotee katha, while practicing Krishna Bhakti, when we see the sacrifices which they have made, then there is some hope that we will be able to give up our envy. And only when the envy goes away, the sense gratification will go away. Actually, the Bhagavatam says, sense gratification leads to enviousness. This is what the Bhagavatam says. So doing tapasya and trying to engage my senses in the service of Krishna will lead to the reduction of sense gratification. And when I give up this enjoyer mentality in the association of devotees, when I clap my hands and chant Hare Krishna and read the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita again and again and again, where it is shown how great Krishna is, then there is a good hope that I will be able to give up my enviousness. The only hope is to continue devotional service. The only hope is to be in the association of devotees. The only hope is to see how much sacrifice the other devotees are making, the acharyas are making. The only hope is to continue hearing Harikatha And just like Dhruv Maharaj, heart was completely purified. Although he had a material desire why he took shelter of Hari. Seemingly he took shelter of Hari to enjoy. He wanted a kingdom greater than his great grandfather Brahma. For what purpose? To open ISKCON centers? No, just to enjoy. But he continued the process of devotional service, which cleansed his heart to such a degree. Sthanabhilashi tapasi sthitoham tvam praptvan deva muni indra guhyam kachan vichinvan apidivya ratnam swamin kritarthosmi varam nayacha. My dear Lord, I don't want anything. My desires are like these broken pieces of glasses, and your audience is like a precious jewel. Having obtained your darshan, I don't want anything else. Swamin kritarthosmi varam nayache. And what is the reason Dhruv Maharaj attained this position in devotional service? Because he strictly followed the instructions of his spiritual master. So to summarize my entire answer, one has to strictly follow the instructions of their spiritual master. Then it becomes easy to accept ourselves as a servant of Krishna. When Lord Ram was sending Bharat back, that you go and take charge of Ayodhya, Bharat said, how can I do this in your absence? He said, just follow the instructions of Vasishtha and then you will be able to serve me nicely. So similarly, if we strictly, sincerely follow the instructions of our spiritual master, then by the mercy of the spiritual master, there is all hope that one day we will be able to accept ourselves as servant of Krishna by reducing sense gratification and observing the sacrifice of everybody. I'm just trying to answer your question. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama.
Thank you very much, Prabhu, for giving us in the nectarian Krishna Katha. Just to summarize what Prabhu had spoken, Prabhu started with Shraddha, what is Shraddha?